We can, with the help of God, heal. And if we do, and I'm sure we can proclaim the palmist, with the palmist who wrote these following words: "The Lord is my strength and my shield, and with my song I give thanks to him." I give thanks now for you, for the trust you've placed in me. Together, we'll lift our voices in the coming months and years, and our song shall be of lives saved, breaches repaired, a nation made whole again. Folks, from the Biden family to yours, wherever and however you may be celebrated, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. May God bless you, and may God protect our troops. Happy Thanksgiving.
Good evening. Happy Sunday to you. This is Scarlett Pimpernella. It's November 29th. I just wanted to get on and talk to you all about some exciting developments. This is a Twitter update from Kevin McCullough, the journalist, and there's a lot of good news going on related to the election fraud. Pennsylvania, there apparently a Pennsylvania judge ruled that certification needs to be halted, and he said that there is a likelihood that mail-in balloting procedures violated the Pennsylvania Constitution, and that then will likely be put forward again and appealed and brought to the Supreme Court. Next week in Arizona, there's a legislative hearing scheduled. And that hearing apparently is being set up. I listened to Jenna Ellis talk about that hearing. That's going to be set up similarly to the Pennsylvania hearing, where you have eyewitness testimony and the lawyers asking questions related to the eyewitness testimony of native Arizonans talking about what happened to them. In Wisconsin, there's a petition to throw out 150,000 ballots, absentee ballots. Wisconsin has strict laws related to absentee ballots and what happens to avoid, or what should happen to avoid phantom voting. You know, if somebody moves from an address, they're not supposed to, that person who's ostensibly at that address, if they don't respond within 30 days, that voter ballot is supposed to be made null and void. So we'll see how that one goes. Nevada, there's an evidentiary hearing scheduled. Georgia, the 11th Circuit has granted an expedited review of Lynn Wood's case. That case, I have just looked up at Lynn Wood's Twitter feed. It's the Brad Raffensperger is the defendant, and this looks like the same members of the Georgia State Election Board. So that's good that they're willing to expedite that case. And in Michigan, Powell submitted a companion complaint to the complaint she submitted about Georgia. And next week, there'll be expert witnesses coming to discuss that case. I think most of it relates to what happened in Wayne County, in the Detroit area in Michigan. So lots of good news, like I was saying. And I also, last week when I was talking about the Kraken and the complaint in Georgia, something that struck me was in Andrea Whitberg's article, she said that Raffensperger illegally entered into a settlement agreement with various Georgia Democrat organizations and by which he agreed to ignore the state's strong, specific statutory voting safeguards for absentee ballots. And I was interested in looking into this, what this was all about. Apparently, most of these, there were a couple of complaints and a lawsuit filed, and most of the complaints were lobbied by Fair Fight, which is an organization that Stacey Abrams founded. Now, Stacey Abrams lost the governorship in 2018, and I think it was a hotly contested race because she didn't lose by much. But one of the things, this lawsuit was not filed by her, the one that is in the Kraken case. And so I wanted to take a look at that lawsuit. It was filed in November 6th, not November 6th. This article is from November 6, 2019, but it was filed in November of 2019 by the Democratic Party. And the title of this article is Lawsuit Seeks to Prevent Georgia Absentee Ballot Rejections. It's also by Mark Neese. So he's been really writing a lot of good investigative pieces about the election. So here it goes. A federal lawsuit filed Wednesday asked a judge to require quick notification to Georgia voters when their absentee ballots are rejected, giving them time to correct problems and have their votes counted. The lawsuit filed by the Democratic Party said voters often aren't told about mismatched or missing signatures on their absentee ballots until it's too late. And the origin of this problem came from the midterm elections. It says election officials threw out 8,157 absentee ballots in last November's election, about 3% of all absentee ballots returned by mail. You can see already just looking at those numbers that there were just a lot fewer absentee ballots submitted in 2018 and 2020. And of course, we have COVID now as an excuse for why we need these absentee ballots. But apparently the place where a lot of these rejections occurred was in Gwinnett County, and they had strict standards for accepting absentee ballots. Rejected 1,733 of them. So that lawsuit was filed, and then in March there was a ruling on it. And they won. The Democratic Party won. Georgia voters must be quickly notified when election officials reject their absentee ballots, allowing them time to correct problems and have their ballots counted. So Georgia election officials are in charge then of contacting voters whose ballots were rejected within 3 business days. Voters must be contacted the next business day if absentee ballots are invalidated during the 11 days before election day. But as we know, this whole thing went just way beyond what it was. It was a problem that was intended to solve the Gwinnett County large number of ballots that were thrown out, 3%. But look, remember, when we looked at Doug Ross's infographic on Sidney Kraken's complaint in Georgia, he said, in Georgia, the signature verification requirement is a dead letter. The signature rejection rate for the most recent election announced by the Secretary of State was 0.15%. The signature rejection rate for absentee ballot applications was 0.00167%, only 30 statewide. That is incredible. Only 30 statewide. What that says is that they're not even looking at the signatures. They're not even looking at the signatures. I mean, and we can, you do the math to figure out how many, just based on the fact that this is 0.00167%, we can do the math to figure out how many absentee ballot applications were submitted. But that is laughable. And that's what President Trump mentioned in his Thanksgiving address. One of the things that he's trying to get to happen in Georgia is that the signatures will be verified. There's been some back and forth, and on Saturday, it looked like there was going to be a breakthrough. Oh, actually, this is from today. Judge Timothy Batten issued an order to freeze all Dominion machines in Georgia, and the judge reversed the order. But I also heard something about the signature verification, that push to verify the signatures, that was also made. The Trump team was making some progress on that. So we'll see going forward. Hopefully what's happening in Pennsylvania will start a domino effect. And until then, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.